YouTube a second. Okay, awesome. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. If you don't know, my name is Ari Gonzalez. I'm a manager. I specialize in education and development of independent artists and also junior talent agent. I work with the future. But now that all of that is said and done, we're going to get into today's episode of the podcast. I'm going to try to wrap it up quick because your girl is very tired. We had a great, successful show yesterday. Which makes me super happy, but I'm just going to get right into it with some new music for this week. If I can find the first page, we're gonna shift over to my laptop real quick because for some reason the first page did not print. But yeah, some new music. We've got a lot of good stuff. As I said on the last episode, I've been kind of expanding in terms of where I get my submissions from. So opposed to just Orlando local music, we've got people from all over the globe, primarily, I should say, in the U.S., but a lot of great variety, so I'm excited to bring all of that to you today. The first song is called Believe by Project Psycho Meow, and this is super cool. When I originally saw this, I think as anyone would originally see this on Spotify, you're going to assume that this is a band or a singular artist, but this is super cool. What it is a project that is formed to invite musicians locally and around the globe to collab and record / perform songs that this specific person, who I will tag below, has written or has co-written with some people. So I think this is super, super cool. Also, if you want to submit, I'm seeing this question, go ahead and go to the contact part of my Instagram and just give me an email and say that I want to submit this for the podcast. I usually will go on LinkedIn and Twitter and Quadio and different platforms and things like that and solicit submissions. But if you just want to send one in to me via email, that works perfectly fine. But yeah, getting back into the song Believe, like I said, is a collaborative project. Each song that they put out, which I think is super cool, because it's collaborative down to like the studio and the equipment that's used. So I think that is really freaking cool, and I think that it creates a lot of diversity within this project because you're using so many different people, genres, and things like that. So yeah, this song Believe specifically is a classic like white Christian rock pop song, which is not my cup of tea, but I totally understand it. There's definitely a market for it. I would say utilize the Christian sector of entertainment to really exploit the song, especially when we're talking about sync. There's plenty of Christian production companies that need music like this for their films, and just their projects in general. I think you have some great starting numbers. My issue with this is that if you want to make this collaborative project a real brand, you need to get an Instagram going. You need to get some social media going for this because there are some great starting numbers, but there's no place for the people who are following this project and who are interested to be like facilitated. So good job on you guys for having a hashtag for this and putting it out and things like that. But yeah, moving on, we're going to talk about Time Travel by Theory V Beat. So the vibe of this is very like mysterious. It's a nice and full sound. I wanted to mention that this guy has been very consistent on his past week on YouTube of just uploading stuff. I hope that continues. And when I say consistent, I mean like every single day has been posting, which is great. But I just want you, it doesn't seem like you've released much prior, so I don't want you to burn yourself out. So you may want to spread out that content so you can stay consistent. But I wanted to give you props for that because it's something that I noticed. There were some timing issues later on in the song, like things began to feel very jumbled and not put together in the best way possible. But I think you should exploit the style that you have. It can do really, really well for sync, especially with action and mystery. Like they're looking for a lot of music like that. So I'll begin trying to make those relationships and pitching yourself because there's definitely an avenue for that with what you're doing. We're going to move right along with Sinus X1 by Jeff Navanti. Now, I said this last time, but every time I see it, I'm going to say it. please put your social media or your website somewhere in the description of your videos, somewhere in your artist profile and DSPs and things like that, because nobody can follow you. No one can check up with you. All they can be a listener, which is fine, but we want more, right? To the song in general, I think that has some great cover art. It's very attention grabbing. It's giving me like Primus vibes for those of you who know who that band is. It feels jumbled and kind of like you're changing dimensions, which is not necessarily a bad thing if that's what you're going for. But it, like all music, is not everybody's cup of tea. And there's a lot going on all at once, which kind of goes into that like jumbled and different dimension feeling. But once again, it's one of those things, like if that's the vision that you want to create, then continue, go for it. But if that's something that doesn't sound good to you, I would just try to space out the different parts or the different elements of the production that you're using, just so that it doesn't feel so jumbled, so overwhelming. Because like I said, there is a lot going on all at once. The next song, maybe, I'm actually going to go ahead and say it, is my favorite song of this week. It's 365 by Monte Too Real. It's giving very much 3-6 Mafia. It's simple, like funk production, but the flow is engaging enough that it's not too big of a deal. Your voice fits great for this genre. Like it's honestly taking me back and is so reminiscent. And I appreciate that. The one thing that I want to say about it is like try to add something different, because it is giving like very classic funk 3-6 Mafia-esque type stuff. So I would just say switch it up a little bit so that you can stand out from that genre. But you doing that in today's age already is going to make you stand out, and I definitely appreciate that. You have a great hook on here. Thank you for keeping it coming. That's one of the things that I loved about the song, is like I loved the hook and I wanted to hear it again, and I did, which I love. And you have great consistency on social media, but I think you need some more branding. I took a look at your Instagram. Heads up, everyone will be tagged below that I can. But yeah, like I said, you have great consistency on social media, but we need to get you branded a little bit better, because when I look at your Instagram, that doesn't feel like the person I'm listening to, and we want to match up those visions, right? So yeah, but overall, like I said, I think my favorite song of this week, great song overall. So definitely take a listen, you guys. As per usual, all of the music links will be in the link in my bio. You got to go to chapter 19 news links, and it'll be the first block of information for you guys on YouTube. It'll be in the link in my description on the very last section. And yeah, so we're going to move on. We have somebody named Brad Bridges with a song called A Certain Type. Once again, please put your social media and your DSP artist profiles. I cannot find you, and that means nobody else can, because I will search you and I'll try to find you, but I can't. So you got to make sure that these things are linked. But this song is giving like a fusion of like Daft Punk and Radiohead, which I really like. It was a little bit repetitive. I like that you had like low vocals that were kind of in the background. If that's a stylistic choice, then by all means, like full force ahead, go with it. But I would recommend kind of bringing them to the forefront a little bit, just so we can understand what you're saying, we can hear what you're saying, because like I said, the song does get a little bit repetitive. So I feel if you brought them out more, you would kind of you would be able to avoid that a little bit. But it's short and sweet, so you're not being drowned out by repetitiveness. It gives me very much like interlude kind of vibes. But yeah, next up we have Happy Queen Day by Sanya Iman. This is actually a remix of the Happy Birthday song. It's a little bit repetitive because of the lyrics. So I would recommend enhancing the production. But as I thought that, I started going through your Instagram and things like that. I can see that you're into like raising consciousness with music and the conscious aspect of music and things like that. So I understand the lane that you were trying to go in when it comes to like binaural beats and meditative music and things like that. So I think it works really well. That also kind of leads me to believe that there's like a story behind the song. There's a reason for it. I want to know that reason. So I would love to see like you post a little bit more about that, give a little bit more of the backstory. But once again, this is another short and sweet song. And it's also like it's giving me like Lil Einstein vibes, which I think is cool. So I think that I would try to make some music for children, because I was getting that from the song. So I think that would be a cool thing to explore, but you have a great, rich voice. Overall, I enjoyed it. I just think there are some things that you could tweak. But yeah, the next song we have is Come Back Home by RVU Records, or Rhinos versus Unicorns Records. I really enjoyed the Afrobeat influence that you had in there. I think it was a great hook, but it did become a little bit repetitive because that was the bulk of the song was the hook repeating. I think you need to elevate your visuals, but it was a good start that you had them in the first place, which I appreciate. Just begin upping the ante in terms of quality. I think this is a good song for like a couple trend on TikTok. I could definitely see that. That was one of the first things that popped into my head. I like the voice message at the end. It gives a bit of a break from that repetitive and adds a little bit more of like an engaging aspect to it. And I recommend shortening the song, just so that we avoid some of that repetitive. Get to the like last quarter of the song a little bit quicker. Trim it down. I think that you'll have like just a longer retention with that, which is always the goal when it comes to putting out music. So the next song we're going to talk about is Rainy in New York, which is from Damien featuring Noah Berghammer. This is very much giving me like coming of age, indie type, A24-esque, like sync opportunities here. Also, I can definitely see like some heartbreak type situations in here as well. It starts off engaging, it ends engaging. There's a great buildup within the entire song, but it's a little bit of a slower pop. It's kind of reminiscent to me to Christian pop, which is not a problem. Like I said, overall was engaging. The chorus gave a nice change of pace, just keeping things, like I said, engaging. And yeah, it's very light and airy. There's a little bit of a dichotomy between the production and the lyrics, but that's something that I'm a huge fan of, and I think that it worked really well. Overall, solid song, period. We have Rent Free from Natalie Barth. This also starts off very engaging. This is another one that I think is great for like coming of age and heartbreak. There was good buildups in here, nice choruses, good songwriting in general. There was a lot of like longing invoked with the production, which I think was the vision that you had, and I think you did a great job in execution. Overall, great quality. There's really not much for me to say about this song. Like I think you execute in terms of like critique and things. I think you executed it very, very well. And then finally, we have Stand Up by Kai B. There's some interesting production going on here. I just want it to be a little bit more intricate, so that just continuing talking about this engaging aspect. I just want some more intricacy, some more variety. You have a beautiful voice though, and they're memorable lyrics, which is super important. Like as soon as, and there's also some repetition in there, but it's not too extra, which helps bring in that memorability of everything. As soon as you said the first line, I was able to catch on, which is great, especially when it comes to audience interaction at shows like that. That's exactly what you're looking for, is for people to be singing your lyrics back at you. But overall, another great song. My biggest thing for everyone is definitely just get some more variety in there, experiment, have fun, and just don't get too complacent. That's the biggest thing. But that is our section when it comes to live music. So once again, if you want to hear any of the works that I've kind of just described or went over, go ahead to the description at the very bottom if you're on YouTube, or the link in my bio if you are on Instagram. So now we're going to talk about the stories in the My Like section, which is stuff that didn't fit into my other pre-described sections, but I want to talk about. So first we have in the UK, Kate Bush's home nation, Running Up That Hill was announced to have reached number 2 on the official chart on the week of June 10th, behind Harry Styles As It Was. But here's the shocker. Music Business Worldwide has confirmed with multiple label sources that Running Up That Hill actually beat As It Was in terms of both UK streams and downloads, and it was not even close. And the reason that there is a discrepancy within this, despite the facts that her song is doing better, is because there's something called an ACR penalty when it comes to the UK charts. What this does is it prevents older music from just staying on the charts over and over again. Now, I can see where this can be helpful, but what this has done to Kate Bush is that she has to get twice the amount of streams and downloads to equal that to equal one of those 2 times in terms of Harry Styles. So let's say Harry Styles gets 100 streams, she has to get 200 to kind of meet where he's at. And that goes for everyone else who's on the charts, who has released old music compared to the newer music that's coming out. I don't necessarily think this is fair. Like I said, I understand the meaning behind it with trying to keep new music coming onto the charts. But I just think this is an interesting thing to talk about. And I don't personally like it because I think Kate Bush should be getting her flowers. This is a song that was released in the 80s that is picking up amazing traction because of sync and because of virality on TikTok. And I think that should be showcased on the charts. Like, the song is doing amazing, especially in the UK. It should have that number 1 spot because it rightfully deserves it. But this penalty is holding her back a little bit. To move on, we're going to talk about Amazon Music. So if you ever want to leave a personal message to your fan as they listen to your new track, you can utilize Amazon Music's new feature, Spotlight, which lets you add custom voice messages to any of your songs. From profile and tools within the Amazon Music for Artists app, you can choose any song, album, playlist, or station to spotlight, and then explain what makes it special. You can also use this feature to talk about the creative process or inspiration behind the new song or album, highlight anniversaries and career moments, promote tours or live streams, give some love to a collaborator, and share with fans what they are listening to and why. I think this is a really cool new feature. Just adding another way for your listener to feel more connected to you. And like I said, there's a lot that you can do with this feature in terms of announcements, in terms of just creating engaging content, and once again, making your listener feel more connected to you. So I would say definitely take advantage of this on the music that you think it will work for. And yeah, and that's another thing. I know that a lot of artists are like only on Spotify and Apple in terms of their artist profiles. Make sure that you're linking your stuff to Apple Music. Make sure that you're getting a YouTube for Artist profile. Any DSP that you're on, try to make sure that you can actually log into your artist profile on them, so that you can have as full as a profile as possible. So the next thing we're going to talk about is YouTube. They have launched a new site to help songwriters, producers, and their teams build an audience and thrive on the platform. The Songwriters and Producers Hub was announced this past Monday by YouTube's manager of music publishing partnerships, Eric Knapp, during the A2IM Indie Week in NYC. This site offers the blueprint for a songwriter, producer, mixer, composer, engineer to start growing and maintaining their digital discography on YouTube. So if you want to learn more about that, make sure that you're going to the link in my bio to find this full article and just start doing some research on this program in general, and utilize it the best way that you can. YouTube is a extremely staple piece of the social media and the way that you're producing content as a musician. So anything that you can do to increase your following on there and just build your community on there is something you should take advantage of. So definitely check that out. We're going to move on to the next section, which is industry updates. This is usually the longest section, so I'm going to try to brush through it as quickly as I can. Artist, producer, songwriter, and record label executive Larry Gaga has been named Vice President A&R at Def Jam Africa, a division of UMG. Goldman Sachs has boosted its estimates by 7% by 2022 and by 5% by 2023, and then a 10% for 2030 in the music industry. The predictions cover the entire music industry, including recorded music, publishing, and live music. Goldman Sachs has upped its prediction from 2022 from $81.6 billion to $87.6 billion. For 2023 from $90.7 billion to $94.9 billion, and for and for 2030 from 139.7 billion to 153 billion. That's a lot of money. This is something that the industry is excited about. All that means is expansion and more money for everyone, which is great. The next story is Sound Exchange has unveiled the new generation of solutions to making the business of music more accessible and more fair, including a new mobile app, look, and website that will serve as a resource for creators, publishers, and digital service providers. These new tools support a community of more than 570,000 creators, distributing more than $9 billion since its inception. If you don't know, Sound Exchange is one of the royalty collectors that you're going to need to register with if you are creating music and uploading it generally. But yeah, this is pretty cool. The app is something that I think is going to be really beneficial for folks, and the new look of their website, like they said, is more accessible, which I think is great. And when we're talking about accessibility, we're usually talking about in this context, we're usually talking about folks who may be colorblind, who may have difficulties when it comes to vision, and the website is definitely more friendly when it comes to these things. Next, we have artists, including Jack White, have admitted that the recent lack of music gear could bring an indefinite end to the traditional way of touring. Lighting fixtures, in-ear monitors, vacuum tubes are just a few of the items that have become increasingly expensive and harder to locate for even some of the biggest names in the industry. I think this is really interesting. I think that it's something that we should keep our eyes on. I'm almost positive that this has to do with supply chain issues that are happening kind of globally right now. But yeah, this is important. Touring is already hard as it is, especially if you don't have your own equipment. You're going to be renting that everywhere that you go. And the increase of pricing on that and just the inability to locate is going to be very difficult, especially if you're a smaller artist who doesn't have those resources. But as you can see, as they said, even larger artists are having issues with this. So definitely something to keep our eye on and just be cautious of. So the next story is Warner Music Nashville has added Connor Brock as regional manager for the South for its war radio team. Based in Nashville, Brock reports to National Director of Radio, Michael Chase. We have Sony Music Entertainment has named Vanessa Picken to the role of Chair and CEO of Sony Music Entertainment Australia and New Zealand, reporting to Sony Music Group Chairman Rob Stringer. She will begin her new role in September. Last night, multi-Grammy award-winning artist and songwriter Stephen Curtis Chapman was honored for his prolific musical career as a BMI Icon Award recipient at the 2022 BMI Christian Awards. This is the first Christian BMI Icon Award honoree, as Chapman joins the elite list of songwriters, including Barry Manilow, Brian Wilson, Carole King, Dolly Parton, Chris Christopherson, Mary Haggard, Sting, and others who have left an influence on the generations of music makers and the industry at large. Next up, SoundCloud has appointed Tracy Chan as Senior Vice President of Creator. Prior to joining SoundCloud, Chan was the head of music at Twitch, where he led growth of music vertically by enabling creators to interact with their fans live and empowering those fans to directly support their favorite creators. Chan joined Twitch from Spotify, where he was the director of product management, leading product strategy and development for creator platforms and building analytic tools for artists and labels. This includes things like Spotify for Artists and the overall just Spotify analytics. The next story that we have is Sean Diddy Combs will receive a Lifetime Achievement Award during this year's BET Awards, set to air live on June 26th. Next, according to 2022's Global Music Report from the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry, the Middle East and North Africa represented the fastest growing territories in the year 2021. The study identified that the region saw a 35% increase in music revenues during the period ahead of the US, Latin America, and Canada markets. The increase means new opportunities on those front lines in the industry willing to invest early in the untapped marketplace. Just things like this. If you want to create music in these realms, specifically being Middle Eastern and North Africa realms, exploit that now, because you may be able to kind of get in early on the growth that's happening. But yeah, definitely another thing to keep your eye on. You're going to hear more about this, and you're going to hear more viral music and more music that is pushed out from these areas. But yeah, moving on, at least 30 venues around the country are facing problems with their insurance renewals. The Australian Live Music Business Council says while they have faced some premium hikes of up to 300% because of concerns that they're in a high risk industry, others have tried to renew after years with their provider only to have insurance withdrawn later. These are some clear issues that we're having with live music. Live music has picked up from COVID, but it's not 100% back. And we're clearly continuing to see some setbacks while trying to bounce back from the pandemic. So this is going to be a matter of kind of banding together to find the solution. I think it's going to take time. But other than that, this is another one of those things where we just got to keep our eyes on it. This is in a different space in the world. We are in the U.S., so I'm not sure how much these issues with insurance are facing the U.S. market for live music, but I think it's definitely something we should keep an eye on, as I said. And then finally in this section, YouTube announced that its TikTok viral YouTube Shorts, it has now been watched by over 1.5 billion logged in monthly users. By comparison, TikTok announced 1 billion monthly users last September and has projected to mass 1.5 million monthly average users sometime this year. I think this is really interesting to hone in on, because YouTube Shorts isn't something that I'm personally seeing a lot of the artists around me utilize. And clearly, if we're seeing the same, if not more, users utilizing this sector of the YouTube platform, we should absolutely be getting on it. And I just do want to touch on a little bit the concept of recycling content. Okay. Anything that you're posting on TikTok should also be going onto your Instagram Reels, and also should be going onto YouTube Shorts. It's short form content, the same orientation. So utilize it and don't burn yourself out. Recycle that content, because not everyone who sees it, first of all, not everyone is going to see it on TikTok. Not everyone's going to see it on Instagram. Not everyone is going to see it on YouTube. So expand the reach of that one video across platforms and recycle that bitch. Yeah, I hope that you guys take that into consideration, because it'll help you in terms of consistency on these platforms, and it will help you not burn yourself out. I believe we only have one story for Web3, so let's get through it real quick. Billboard launched a brand new benefits program called the Hot 100 Pass on Monday, meaning June 13th, which is exclusively available to members of the Billboard Chart Stars community. The new program arrives on the heels of the recent launch of digital collectible platform Chart Stars, which Billboard paired up with UMG to create. This is for music-focused collectibles. Unblocked is also on the board as the NFT technology partner for Chart Stars. And the Hot 100 Pass is a digital collectible that will give its holders access to exclusive perks, which can include rewards to concerts and Billboard events, merchandise, and invitation to members-only Discord channel, and access to special collections. So if you're into Web3 or you're into billboards in general, that this may be something cool to look into. I know I am, because I would love to be able to get into some Billboard events and concerts. I think that would be great. I do not know what the price point on this is, so that's something that you would want to do more research on. But I do want to mention, I know that it's taken about 20 episodes to get the hang of, but as I've been doing like these news links and things, I haven't connected them directly to the stories. I've been doing it by day. But now if you go ahead and look at the news link section on my Instagram bio or the link in my description, you'll see that each of the news stories are directly connected to the links. So it should be easier for you to find this information when you're looking for it. But next, we're going to move on to the deals, acquisitions, and partnerships section. So let's get right into it. Songclip, the world's only patented music clip company, today announced a multi-year global strategic partnership with UMG, the world leader in music entertainment. the leading global publisher, Universal Music Publishing Group, song clip creators of the patented song clip IPI will integrate music from UMG and UMPG's unrivaled artist and songwriter roster as a feature in consumer applications across the globe, across global social platforms, managing and facilitating search, catalog, and compliance, licensing, royalty payments, and reporting. So SongClip is pretty cool. Essentially what it does is it grants apps the ability to use music that they would otherwise have to go through a bit of jumps and hoops in order to do so legally. So it's it's helping these apps that are either similar to TikTok or similar to Instagram that they want to integrate music into, be able to do so really simply and without really having to worry about it. And so essentially what this partnership is doing is they're adding UMG to their roster so that the apps that they partner with to get music on to their platforms will easily be able to get music that is generated from UMG. Next, we have Sony Music Publishing Latin has entered a global partnership with Taney and Lex Barrero's Neon 16, alongside veteran music executive Tommy Matala, who to launch its new publishing company called 22 Publishing. And finally, in this section, Primary Wave Music has struck a multi-million-dollar deal with Academy Award-winning songwriter Tom Whitlock, which the publisher says brings all of Whitlock's music publishing interests to the company. Lord. All right, y'all. This has been a pretty quick episode, which I am not mad at. I'm very tired, so I'm glad that we could get over it pretty quickly. But the last section we haven't had to do in a while. But we're going to talk about some deaths in the industry. I think it's important that if I see them to talk about them, because I think it's good to honor the people who came before you and laid the path. So unfortunately, we're going to talk about some sad stuff now. Yasmin Lajoie, I am probably pronouncing that incorrectly, but she was a beloved music manager and freelance consultant who has passed away at the ripe age of 34. She was an experienced industry executive with a thorough understanding of the global music market and over a decade of experience working with successful artists across the genre matrix. Her career began in the A&R department at EMI before including stints with Sony, Warner, Empire, and Giant Artist Management. And then we have Jim Long, who went from a teenage record producer and radio announcer to creating award-winning broadcast and entertainment companies in Dallas, Nashville, and Los Angeles. He died on May 30th from a pulmonary embolism while recovering from knee surgery, and he was 79 years old. So as per usual, when I have this section, I give my condolences to the families, the friends, and the fans. But like I said, I like to put this section in when I see it because, as I said before, I think it's important to kind of just honor the people who came before you. But on that note, you guys, like I said, today was a pretty short episode, which I am not mad at because I'm really tired. We had a great show yesterday. If you happen to be one of the folks who came out, thank you so much. But on that note, I'm going to head out, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Boop. Boop. Oh, boop.